Welcome into this weekend's Shred the Spread soccer betting show. And after a busy summer of MLS soccer, which is still going on, the Euros, the Copas, Olympics, Leagues Cup also still going on, and more, the European seasons are back. And in this video, I'm going to look at some soccer picks from the EPL, La Liga, Serie A, and the German Super Cup for this weekend's soccer picks and parlays. Now, if you follow this channel from last season, you'll know what I like to do in these weekend bets. There are tons and tons of games going on all over the globe, and even in the top European leagues alone, we obviously have a ton of games every weekend. Cannot possibly cover them all, and having single bets on even 10, 15, 20 different games each weekend is just a little much if you're trying to manage your bankroll. Now, I'll always give a few leans on some straight bets in some of these parlays, but I strongly believe there's lots of money to be made with just going very simple, making some simple parlays that come out a little bit over, a little bit under, even money. I'm talking things like 2-game, both teams to score parlays, 3-game parlays where you just need each team to get a goal, 3-game parlays where you just need over 1.5 goals to hit. You know, the German Bundesliga, for example, is a great league for that, where there's two or more goals in almost every single game from every team in most weeks. Last year, it worked very well in the EPL as well. Scoring was way up there. Last year, these European weekend parlay bets went 77 and 55, so we will try to continue on from there and hope for similar results this season. And if you're looking to boost your bankroll before these new seasons start, well, then check out this link right down there and in the comments of this video, signupexpert.com/shredthespread. You will be able to see a listing of all of the legal sportsbooks and casinos in your region, and you can get bonus bets and deposit matches of $500, $1,000, or even up to $1,500 for new customers. Be sure to check it out. Now let's get into this weekend's soccer picks and parlays from some of these top European leagues. We'll start in the EPL on Saturday between West Ham and Aston Villa. These were two teams that saw a lot of both teams to score games last season. West Ham, the third most, 68%. But Villa were not far behind, 66%. 71% of Villa's games went over 2.5, while 68% of West Ham's also saw 3 or more. Drop that down to just over 1.5. Nearly every single West Ham game had at least 2 goals, 97%. 87% of Villas also saw 2 or more goals. Between them, Villa won 4-1. They drew 1-1. That makes both teams to score 8-1 in the last 9 between them. West Ham does add Dortmund forward Nicholas Füllkrug, who was 11th in Bundesliga scoring last season with 12 goals. I think we should see goals in this game. Let's go both teams to score for leg 1 of the parlay. And the second leg, we're going to Nottingham Forest and Bournemouth. Nottingham didn't win often last season. They only had 9 wins in 38 games. And they just cleared the relegation zone by 4 points. But at home, they scored in 15 of 19 games. The games where they didn't were against Everton, Tottenham, Liverpool, and Man City. So mostly some top teams. They scored in both games against Bournemouth, one in a 1-1 draw, a 3-2 loss. Season before, the scores were 1-1 and 3-2 for Bournemouth. Bournemouth finished the season allowing a goal in 9 of 11 road games and multiple goals in 8 of 11 road games. Again, we could see some goals here. All I'm going to do is ask Forest to get at least one. We'll go Forest to score. That's over 0.5. Paired with West Ham, Villa, both to score, coming in at minus 114 odds. Next up, we have one German game this weekend. It's the German Super Cup between Bayer Leverkusen and Stuttgart. This gets the German season started. Leverkusen were first, Stuttgart second last season. Leverkusen had a remarkable season, 28-6-0 in the league, a full 17 points clear of Stuttgart, who also had an amazing season for them. Leverkusen, though, is the story. They've not lost to a German team since all the way back May 27th, 2023. It was 0 losses in 40 games with 34 wins in all German competitions last season. Stuttgart will lose several pieces this season. They did lose the Bundesliga's second leading scorer with 28 goals, that being Serhou Guirassy, who departed for Dortmund. Even minus Guirassy, Stuttgart still had 50 goals scored last season, 18 of which came from Dennis Undav, who was signed permanently with the German club, leaving Brighton. Stuttgart also saw captain and defender Waldemar Anton depart for Dortmund as well as fellow defender Hiroki Ito, leaving for Bayern. But they also brought in former Augsburg captain Enric Demirovic, who has scored 15 goals last season. That was 6th overall in the league. Stuttgart has been in excellent form in preseason. They have wins of 8-1, 5-3, 5-2, and 4-0. Obviously, that and a 0-0 draw. Obviously, we're talking preseason and not top opponents. But their most recent win was 4-0 coming over Athletic Bilbao. Leverkusen not only won, but they kept a ton of clean sheets last season. They also scored in nearly every game in every competition. But in the 3 meetings between these teams, 2 in the league, 1 in the cup, the scores were 1-1, 2-2, and 3-2 Leverkusen. Additionally, Stuttgart has not had much success in many years against this opponent. It's been 12 games going back to 2018 since they last beat Leverkusen. Past German Super Cups have generally seen goals. There's been 3 or more goals in 6 of 7, 2 or more goals in 12 straight. Let's bet on at least a goal coming from both teams here, both teams to score, and that will only be around minus 180 at Caesars. So we'll add one more simple selection to bring that down a bit. We'll go to AC Milan, Torino. Milan sputtered down the stretch last season, being 1-4-2. They still scored 16 goals in those 7 games. At home in Serie A, they scored in 14 straight home games to end the year, and also in 22 of 24. Away from home, Torino kept just 1 clean sheet in their final road 9 games. All I want here is Milan to get on the score sheet. We'll AC Milan to score. Both teams to score. Leverkusen, Stuttgart, minus 119. Next up, Valencia and Barcelona. This game's on Saturday afternoon. Valencia 9th from last season. They're hosting Barcelona 2nd. Last year, the teams drew 1-1 in Valencia. Barcelona won 4-2 in Barca. The both teams scoring is 6-2 and 11-3 in recent meetings. The Barcelona offense, obviously always capable of scoring. They have tons of star players, but the defense is equally capable of conceding. The 3.24 goals per match in their games was the 3rd most in La Liga last season. This could certainly be a both teams to score. Both teams score over 2.5, or to kick off this parlay on Saturday, simply over 1.5 goals. And we'll roll in to Sunday here, where we have a big game in England. Chelsea and Man City. This doesn't need a lot of explaining if we want to bet some goals here. Both of these teams rarely saw games that didn't finish with at least 2 goals. 89% of Chelsea's games went over 1.5. 84% of City's also did. Chelsea's games averaged the 2nd most goals per match, 3.68. City's averaged the 8th most, 3.42. When they played in the EPL, it was 2 draws, 4-4 at Stamford Bridge, 1-1 at the Etihad, and in the FA Cup, City won. That game was just 1-0. Take preseason for what it's worth, but they did just play August 3rd, and it was 4-2 City. Chelsea played a ton of both teams to score games last season, and that continued in the preseason with scores of 2-2, 4-1 loss, 3-0 win, 4-2 loss, 2-1 loss, and 1-1. City's preseason games have been equally wide open. They have a 4-3 loss, 3-2 loss, 2-2 draw, then a PK loss, 4-2 win, and 1-1 PK win in last week's Community Shield. Chelsea welcome new manager, the championship-winning coach Enzo Maresca from Leicester, who will surely want to get a good showing in his home opener here. So you could simply throw over 1.5 into this parlay, or I think we will go both teams to score here. Chelsea playing at home. City did often concede goals last year, so we'll go both teams to score, Chelsea and Man City. Finally, we have Mallorca and Real Madrid. Madrid won 1-0 in both games last season, but Mallorca did get a shock upset result on the island. 1-0 the season prior. That's one of only 2 Mallorca wins, though, in 16 meetings with Los Blancos. But there was another upset win, 1-0 back in 2019. So they have had some meetings with the Spanish Giants they've kept close. And on opening day, they'll certainly be excited to get things going on a good start here. Madrid are still Madrid, though. They welcome Kylian Mbappe into the fold this season to an already stacked team that just won the Champions League. They played Atalanta in the Super Cup on Wednesday, won 2-0. Mbappe also got his first goal with Madrid. Real Madrid have not lost any of their last 27 matches in all competitions, 18 wins, 9 draws. I don't see that ending here. Certainly, this should be a Real Madrid win. I wouldn't tell you not to bet it. Their games often, though, do come down to the wire sometimes, and Mallorca do play decent on the island. So all I will do is ask Madrid to score, and we can go for Madrid to score. Chelsea, Man City, both teams to score, and over 1.5 in Valencia and Barcelona, and that would come in at plus 117 odds. We'll do one more parlay. There's a bunch of games going down on Monday in various different leagues here. We'll go to Villarreal, Atletico Madrid. Last year, Atleti won the games 3-1 and 2-1, and this matchup often sees goals with other scores being 2-2, 2-0, 2-2, 2-2, and 2-0. The Yellow Submarine don't often win, though. They have just 1 win in 12 meetings. Villarreal's games saw the highest rate of both teams to score last season, 79%. No one else had more than 63%, and also the most over 1.5 and over 2.5 games as well. The 3.42 goals per match in their games was only lower than Girona's 3.45. Atleti have wins of 1-1, winning in PKs, 3-1, 6-1, and 2-0 this preseason. They just signed Julian Alvarez from Man City. Atleti, rarely the same team away from home as they are at the Wanda. They did win their last 3 road games and by shutout last season, but had conceded in 10 of 11 previous road La Liga games before that time. But then, not only have they added Alvarez, they also added the league's second leading scorer from last season, 23-goal man, Alexander Sorloth, coming from none other than this week's opponent, Villarreal. The next leading scorer for the Yellow Submarine only had 10 goals, so there is a big hole to fill there. This could be a both teams to score bet, maybe an Atleti win or Atleti simply to score because it might be tough to bet on Villarreal knowing they just lost their top player. So all I'll ask for, Atletico Madrid to get on the score sheet here. So that's Atleti over 0.5 goals. Do a similar approach with Atalanta facing Lecce. The 3.00 goals per match for Atalanta games was the third most in Serie A last year, while nearly every game saw 2 or more goals. 89% of them did. It was a great season where they finished 4th in the league and they went on to win the Europa League as well. They played in the Super Cup on Wednesday versus Madrid, though, and they lost 2-0. This is likely an Atalanta win. Lecce were 14th last season. Liga won 1-0 and 2-0 last year. But then Lecce did win 2-1 and 2-1 the season prior. Atalanta added forward Charles de Ketelaere from Milan permanently. He was on a loan last season. He scored 14 goals last year. Also added Matteo Retucci from Genoa. With Lookman already in the mix, their offense should be good, but they do lose a big piece in Gianluca Scamacca, who tore his ACL. So we just saw Atalanta lose. Obviously a much better opponent than Lecce, but now a short turnaround could either be bad or good because they already have one game under their belt. All I'm going to do, ask them to get on the score sheet, Atalanta to score. And finally, Leicester City and Tottenham. This is also on Monday. Tottenham's games, they were obviously goal fest last year. If you watched the EPL, you'll know that. Their games averaged 3.55 goals per game. 71% of their games, that's the second most, saw both teams to score. 97%, that was the most, saw over 1.5. And 79%, also the most, saw over 2.5. Leicester won the championship division last year, 31-4-11. They scored 89, allowed 41, finished with 97 points, just 1 point above second place Ipswich. They saw manager Enzo Maresca, though, depart for Chelsea and brought in ex-Forest man Steve Cooper. Their preseason has not been great, though. 2-1 win, then a 1-0 loss, 1-0 loss, and 3-0 loss. If you wanted the Tottenham win here, or both teams to score, or both teams scoring over 2.5, that was certainly the trend in Tottenham games last season, but I'm just not sure I want to bet against Leicester's home return here in the EPL. So some way, somehow, let's just ask for 2 goals. This parlay won't pay a lot, but it looks pretty safe here. We'll go Leicester-Tottenham over 1.5, Atalanta to score, Atletico Madrid to score. It's minus 141. Hopefully we can pick up just a little nice win on Monday. I will leave it at that for now. Let's try to keep it simple. See how all these teams play on opening weekend and in the coming weeks before we get maybe a little crazier or add some more bets each weekend. But what do you like on this weekend's slate of games? Be sure to share your picks down there in the comments, and good luck this weekend.